Good morning, everyone, or whatever time it is where you are. It's Tom Jampot here, and let's play some Galaxy. Uh, I like Dungeon Master. I know I want to play more. I want to get more comfortable with hunt strats, but at the end of the day, I don't like them that much, and I don't think they're so much better than like I think it's something that if you wanted to be, the best at the game, you should be comfortable with them. But I just hate the games when you're behind. They're just not fun at all for me. So that's kind of the end of the thing. Like I think it's extremely difficult to mount a comeback, but maybe that's something that you get more experience with if you play them more. Uh, let's do Dungeon Master. What are we doing here? Aladdin makes a lot of sense. I guess Mysterious just here because we're likely to kind of be a little bit greedy early, and we might be able to. Like, I don't think our uncommon board is likely to be so strong that we can't reasonably proc it. I guess we have one, two, three hero. Like we have a couple heroes that this Glorious Seeker can get, but I'm not really sure what it's doing here, if I'm being completely honest. I'll keep an eye on that. So, in my opinion, one of the main strengths of Dungeon Master, of course, is that you get like pretty okay access to specifically secret rares, right? Like, yes, you can spike slightly more powerful treasures early, and that is huge. It really matters. Uncommon treasures much better, like just in a blanket way, than common treasures are. And then, if you get an early rare, that can really start to set your direction a little bit more. Um, but I think usually you just kind of are excited to, like triple something and then get a uh, very like a secret rare late. But maybe that was like how I was thinking when I first started playing. Like now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, why am I playing for secret rares? Like, what am I supposed to do until then? Um, I think I kind of belabored the like deck building a little bit more than I would like to have it be like I was okay doing it once for Merryweather, but I don't want it to be a thing every single video where I just like talk forever about this. So I'm just gonna take a quick glance and see if there's any one of these units that I'm like excited to try, or if I'm looking at this and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Serena is like not the best, but I think we have enough things that I could see. Like we don't have anything that like screams like I want to be in slot one getting bigger, but we have. I guess we do. We have Mr. Fox. But there's also things in the base set for sure. I think there's other directions we could go with this. This is kind of a generic like flop super Superinator worm scale, and I think this is still a strong strategy, although I really do think that the metagame is a lot more diverse now that I think it might just be that like this kind of strategy can spike and like was crushing things and whatever changes they made to the matchmaking, I think have been pretty smooth. Like I see a lot of different boards in the late game. Um, so here, I mean, like I am kind of excited to take this Glory Seeker here. Why? I mean, Puck is so solid early. This is okay early, although I think I'd rather have Puck. Just because like it'll be a while till we actually get rid of it. We don't care about animals. But I think Glory Seeker makes some sense. Like we could spike a early relevant treasure and just like have that dictate our game plan for a while. Um, like here we don't have any of the setup for Jealous Sisters, and if we had the puck, I would absolutely take it. But here's where I think I want to do a little write up about this actually, about like Itsy Bitsy Spider and how like this character seems so generic and kind of in the beginning, like, why would you take this? It trades with like a 3/2, but it doesn't have any text. Um, but I think similar to how I've talked about Anne Bunny being a character that I value maybe more than I think. It's not that I like think it's insane or anything like that, but I think that it should be something that is considered quite a bit more often. And Itsy Bitsy Spider, I think people get about it. That it's strong early, but I kind of want to like talk about why. It's that like again, it can be flexible. You can put it wherever it wants. It doesn't require any resources. Um, and that's really important because you have other things that are weaker and are requiring you to like that are going to change how you play. So like let's say I take this Jealous Stepsisters, then I have to find a way to give it attack, otherwise it's just sitting there doing nothing. Um, and if I find a way to give it attack, should I have like given that to something else? If I have a Pix, then that's great. Then I can put a hunt here, put the Jealous Stepsisters here, try and make it work. Um, although, even by turn two, having this have 4 attack, it's much less likely to hit twice because other people will just also have stronger stats. Anyway, this is all to say I'm taking this, even though it doesn't synergize with anything here, it is going to give me space to work with the things that I do want to get going. Uh, Here I think I might. So Dragonling is going to be way too slow. Jack in the Box kind of a little bit more stable, but it's still going to need a support or a slot buff. I think that um basically I think that in order to make this work, I would it would be kind of the same thing that I need to make this work, and then the payoff for this is so much higher that I'm gonna take it, even though I'm not happy about it, to be honest. Um, yeah, put our heavier hitters in front so that this happens. Again, not rocket science. Baby bear, we have one other animal. I mean, I think the actual trouble with itsy bitsy spider is sometimes you get baited into animals which are just not in a great position right now in the meta, I think. Like, you can pick them and you can get a little bit of value out of them, but the harder that you commit to animals, I think unless you're um, treasures and your captain ability, or you need something else to make it work. Whereas I think other things kind of can mesh a little bit on board and present you with like something that's a little bit more stable. Uh, I don't think Tink Jealous Tips just is going to do it on its own, but it could add up. I'm going to take Tink here. Uh, Glory Seeker seems the very clear pick because then we can finish that. Do I take a little red? Again, I just don't really believe in it. I'm just taking the Tink again because like it moves. Oh, Tink's torches, huh? Huh. That's actually a pretty huge buff to this. Like it makes it a 7/4, which is again like it's much bigger than anything else that I have going on already. So I think that's quite likely to hunt, and then +3/+3, goodness. I'm into it. Let's try it. I haven't tried this since the buff. It makes a lot of sense to me. Peter Pan kind of works with that. Let's not try to get too baited with Fae, but if we pick up a couple Fae buffs, we do have a Worm Scale to like take advantage of it a little bit later. So I'm not against it. If we picked up this Jealous Scrub Fowl, then this would get to 3, 4. No, it's way too slow. All right, and then I think we might. It's there is a world where we have this on our board later. Like if we pick up Mushroom Ring, there's a couple things that we could care about. Or much more likely than that, we would pick up like an Achilles High Tops or a Sword of Valor would be so sick. Um, so let's try and get some buffs onto here rather than Itsy Bitsy Spider, even though it's a tiny bit bigger right now. Uh, so this Jealous Stepsisters, realistically, it attacks, it gets +1/+2, it goes to 2/5. I mean, it might not attack, but let's say that it does. 2/5, that's still quite a while away from going off. Would I take another support back here? I very much would. And then if that support doesn't give like a ton of attack, I think I would appreciate having this have like, if this was like a 4/9 or something like that. But then do I really want to invest so much into a Jealous Stepsisters? Probably not, actually. No, I'm okay with it because like I'll go off of it. I'll find other ways to scale up a couple units, a few points, and again, like it's not just giving a common treasure. Um, by the way, if you guys are watching this, and I think I've started to ramble a little bit longer than I did even before, and I think I do like talking through my stuff. I just find it fun. Um, but if it's getting a little too much, like if I'm explaining what like commons do, um, more than you would like, please just like drop a comment in either Discord or in the comments. Um, I'll probably be a little slow to check it. I'm not great at like keeping up with social stuff, but I'll do my best. I think this is worth it, and if we're going to be doing this, we need to get it done soon. So I'm gonna put this in slot 1. And obviously, like I think to some degree, like this is kind of meant to. Oh no, got. Oh dear. Yeah, that was costly. I know that this is like meant to be like a casual like popcorn game a little bit, but I think it has a lot more depth than I might have, or like than I thought in the beginning. Given what we're doing, Hunter's Horn makes so much sense, even though I could kind of rather take a Mask of Infinite Rage here. Uh, Wait, why does it make sense to me? I guess we have a hunt that we know that we're trying to work towards too in that, and then we technically do have this. Like, look at this. Let's go for it. Whatever. Okay. So with all this in mind, this says hunt. It's not a hunt that we care about doubling, and this is fighting for our favorite slot. I know you can put Ahab here. I think usually when I have had Ahab work really well for me, I have a pretty strong uncommon board. And not by when I say that, I'm trying to like turn three, turn four. It's just kind of hard for me to remember a little bit, like the specific turns. I think it gets clunky. Um, uh, but I guess what I really mean is like a turn three or four board where I have a summon in front because the timing, like pretty strong one with a summon in front, but not like mega strong. And then Captain Ahab goes here. The pacing of that seems to work out best for Ahab, just like hunting in one, finishing its quest in one, maybe two fights, and then moving on. Don't like having this thing stick around because even though the stats look respectable, it's just taking up a really important slot, and it gets so awkward when it's anywhere else. You can put it in one and just have it hit a bunch, I guess. So let's say that I do that. Then this is going to get, it starts as a 6/3. If it attacks and hunts once, it goes to an 11. Um, wow, it's big. Okay, an 11/9, and then if it hunts, it goes to a 13/11 right away, versus what this is doing, which is attacking once, going to a 7/11. That's quite a bit weaker, but I don't think we really want to stick to this Ahab and like pile a bunch of stats into it. We'd much rather just get anything else, right? Like let's say we obviously, Mr. Fox is kind of what we're looking for, but I think if we hit an Ant Bunny or just anything else reasonable, um, a nameless one would be kind of sick too, actually. We would much rather do that. So I don't really want to take a hunt thing that we have to like then figure out where to put it. That's awkward. I might take Ember here. Slightly better. I don't care about goldening any of these. Silvery Moon is when you want to golden things, right? Like that's when it's interesting, because otherwise it just makes your shops marginally worse. Or if you have a ton of spell buffs or like a relevant amount of spell buffs, you can just take it for stats and give yourself some board presence. Yep, this Tink is really kind of doing it. I hope we get yes. Oh my god. Okay, so Dracula's Fangs kind of works with this in that if we, like we're going to put something here in this coming shop, hopefully, and then it's going to, be huge if it gets its attack off. But if it gets attacked, this kind of stabilizes it a little bit. I don't think we're going to need more power. Like if it attacks, we're fine. So I think Dracula's Fangs makes sense here. It also, does turbo scale this. Sugar Plum Fairy, this is not the hunt that we're looking for, I think. Yeah, Sugar Plum Fairy is okay, just like, buffs our shop a fair bit. So I'm inclined to grab it here. We're kind of starting to struggle a little bit with this Tink because like we're buffing, getting giant stats on these units that we immediately want to replace. Not that, like that's kind of the case in general. Like if there's a lot of, you want to be getting things that are better than uncommons. So, and it's not like we put a, it's not like we put so many resources into this. We absolutely did. Like we put two treasure selections into it, arguably three, right? But those resources will, sit and continue. It's not like we put like big teeth. So I don't hate it too much. This is a Fae. We could use another support. I like having some more health on this slot so that we can much more realistically get it to attack. And Bunny is just huge though, and like what am I doing here if I'm not taking Ann Bunny, right? Uh, Given what's happening, I mean, I would love stats on this Sugar Plum Fairy much more. Let's say Ann Bunny attacks, gets big. I think it can get big enough that it will survive, and then Sugar Plum Fairy has a chance to attack again and get this buff. If it doesn't happen, am I gonna feel dumb? Like, would I really wish that I had just kept this much safer pick here? Because it is just gonna get huge, and I could just through the Looking Glass it to like make that work. And it's not like this, we're not playing Candy or anything like that. We don't need this thing to stick around on our board. If we get one more proc out of it, that's nice. Phew. I mean, this is looking like a pretty good Mr. Fox for them, but, oh, big. Goodie Bag just loves the stats too much, I, mm, Okay, I think I slammed this unit a little too aggressively because it's so like explosive. It doubles its regular buffs and then occasionally more, when you resummon the same common character, and then it triples slot bonuses, right? So, and it also triples like conventional supports, but not this kind of strategy. Oh my goodness. But look at this number. Like, what am I doing not taking goodie bag here? Sugar Plum Fairy, I think I might actually just be off this. Do I care about having a 10-11 over a 5-5? I just can't think of any other Fae that I would get other than another Sugar Plum Fairy for quite a while. Because Pisces I would take, but it's not actually Fae. Um, Although if we take a Pisces, we might that might change this equation, but not much. I think we kind of are doing something very strong that will get us to late game. We don't need to worry about this little thing. So Nameless 1, if it hunts, gets +8/+8, and when it attacks, it already gets huge. But then, hmm, I don't believe, like, this, I think that we're not playing any strat where, like, we can expect to transform this. We don't have, like, Midas or, I can't remember the name of Jung, the pirate, uh, the pirate shops gal. So goodie bag just makes sense to me, and I think I'm just gonna keep bigger stats. I don't care if this gets huge. It's already big enough to survive. Like it's bigger than most starting stats on legendaries at this point. Perfectly happy just having it stick around. We could buy Navi because like it's the best. No, of course it's not the best triple. Sinbad's the best triple. I was gonna say it's better than a generic one because it gets you a treasure and the heart, right? We certainly don't need to be twinkle twinkling. Okay. Please attack goodie bag. Yes. Okay. Oh no. Okay, well, Anybody got her hunt off, which is very meaningful. Like, that's a big old bundle of stats. I'm going to take Jasmine Dragon here. Finally, I get to take Jasmine Dragon. And then there's that Through the Looking class. I wonder if it should just go on here because it has bigger stats, but I think this will hunt one or two more times, and then we can just go off of it. There's not an epic that I can think of at the top of my head that, like, we absolutely need. Like we would like a Smug. There's a bunch of things. Let's just, have this be great. Oh, that's really nice. I wonder if we can do this now. Goodie Bag gets more stats. I think it should be able to survive a lot of attacks, and then we can get some more Jasmine Dragon stats. And then, yeah, I think the time for uh, Tink slaying is a little bit over, but that's okay. The Sunflare could still do it. I wonder if we should do that, but then of course, we are putting our a lot of pressure on this attacking. Although 7, oh my god. No, 56 really, but still. Kind of cool. Just spending a second to think if I want two-headed dragon. It does give two legendary treasures. I kind of think that legendary treasures are like a dime a dozen once you start getting them, especially if you're trying to go for dragon stats or dragon stuff. And sometimes the really messed up ones are epics. Like the legendaries give a lot of like generic power, or they require a specific like team. Like KO Star is really really good in some circumstances, and then obviously much of the time you just don't click it. I'm just gonna keep looking. Um, hmm. I really am interested in this Angelica. It is the wrong turn for it. We don't have anything that pre-scaled its stats, so it would have to attack once, and then it would attack at 20. The thing is, it would be really good if like it got 2 turns of scaling in, right? Like, but then we're 2 turns in. Do we really want to be doing that? If we were to buy one of these, I think it would probably be Stinky because later in the game, if we're a little bit behind and we see a silver Stinky in the shop, I very much might be inclined to just grab it and then want to maintain the tempo of like, having a bonus shop later. Shoemaker's Elves has, like a very slight bonus. I think I'm gonna take Stinky here. Shoemaker's Elves is just fine, like so often you end up taking something that doesn't take advantage of it. Uh, so here's where like the idea of like leaving silvers in the shop, I sometimes I'll just take Lost in the Woods for that. Especially here where like our numbers aren't that great, but I would like the treasures still. We're a little bit lower on them than I would like. Huh. So printing press would give us a lot if we can get some of the like other treasure nonsense going, but we actually haven't gotten like super strong along that line. Drafty window, we're not looking for any recruits. It's a little bit late for this to really shine. It's not rusty blades though. I think I'm strong enough to take a printing press. There's smug, which is just kind of broken with. I don't know exactly how this dynamic works. I guess we just keep an eye on it. But I'm pretty sure that when we golden a hero or a villain with smug, we get offered a secret rare or something like that. It's something strange where I feel like I see them way too often. I want to go off this tank pretty soon because it has like, much, much weaker stats, but like I'm not gonna sacrifice the goodie bag for that much longer. Is it time to go off of this Ant Bunny already? Has it done its job? It's too bad. It really is enormous. But I think Smug is a little too important, and it's not like we're already doing so well. I'm almost certainly gonna Midas touch this Jasmine Dragon. I'm just thinking about it for a second. Two bonus chops is a like really, really messed up thing to be able to do. This is a really big giving tree, isn't it? Wow, we have like no space to move around. God, I really don't want to get rid of this tank. It's so big. But I guess like at turn 9, right? Like it's kind of like an Oberon and a Titania, but the thing does have to attack, but our stats are big enough that that's like happening. I'm not so concerned about that part of it. This um is a hero, but that doesn't really matter, right? Usually I'm so excited to see Mixo Macho on this goodie bag. Um, but that's probably because I usually over speculate in it, right? Like, and then it's behind on stats. Giving tree. The thing is, I think it would have to go in place of Tink, and then it's good. That's a hardy little buff to be putting on probably. I'm trying to think if there's any particular hunts that we need to enable, but you never know. Like, because this is usually the better summon slot. It can benefit from multiple supports. It's also like, not clogging up that slot, so that's another place to put this. We could also go off of this smug, but I don't think that's the way. Fire Tuck, we're very far from happening, like from caring about that. Again, I'm really just going on way too long. The trouble is this is so much weaker. Um, if it's not getting, the second buff. I wonder if there's an argument for just like benching this. Maybe we can like get it even bigger. But then we won't necessarily have these like really strong supports, which is what's making this work right now. Tricky. Okay. I think this is a pretty big stat buff. No, because we love these two units, right? I would be super thrilled if these two were on our board until the end of the game. So I shouldn't abandon this. With that in mind, and because don't think that this will necessarily be good later, I'm just gonna go for that. I don't really know what you're supposed to like pick out of the like when you just are grabbing a random unit. Like the tiebreaker for me is usually just rarity, right? But that's not always an indicator of strength, right? Like sometimes you don't really care about a legendary treasure. Like why are you taking this? Um, so it's something that I think I should, I don't know, develop a slightly like cleaner heuristic for so that I don't have to like think so much about it. But I don't think that like my current heuristic makes sense. Jabberwocky, I think I just passed on because I was like kind of talking about that. It's a hero and a villain, I guess, which matters. It can get us a secret rare, so I am gonna take it. This one I think makes a lot more sense. We're so strong that we can like be spewing these chops, but like it does make me a little bit worried that we're spewing so many of them. Flopsy is incredible. Um, I think it's time to go off of this smug. We kind of are like organically getting to that territory. We're already in the finals, but I imagine that means that they're, squad's no joke. There's a billion common treasures. Never mind, their squad's a joke. Okay. So I talked too much. I will try and balance that a little bit more. But what happened here? So we didn't bother, like we didn't get anywhere close to getting a secret rare, and it didn't matter because we did the kind of the other end of spiking, like things that are one rarity higher, which is getting a relevant uncommon when other people are messing around with commons. We also, I guess we golden this early, but it didn't actually matter, right? All of our stats came from Tink's torches. I forgot we had Dracula's fangs, but it didn't matter. And then Hunter's Horn mattered a little bit with that, and Bunny, got it big to help us bully people. But it was really just, oh no, of course, it mattered with our Tink's torches. That's part of why these numbers are so big. Uh, okay, so that's something to keep in mind if I want to mess around with this more, is maybe I can like not fuss so much about what my high end is, right? Like maybe I don't need to be doing these dragon things so much, and I can just work on having heroes and villains that I am actively happy to buy, like not just like jamming all of the heroes and villains in. Um, and then looking at the basic list and seeing which heroes and villains I like and what other like what units that I could put in my deck might make those other units shine. So that's it for now. Bye.